Hello guys, long time no see. Let us stop the screen share and just say hello. How are you guys doing? We are fine. We are fine. Thank you very much for joining us out here.
Hello guys.
Today we are doing a review of a book.
Stop the screen share and just say hello.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? We are fine.
So today we're doing
We are fine.
we are
Thank
doing
you
the
very much
book
for joining us out
the
here.
book the Gulag Archipelago.
Today
So
we are
here let's just
doing,
try and take
a
off
review.
the volume over there. Hi, thank you very much. I'd like to apologize for not being around for the last few weeks because I can't find something to fix my microphone, okay? First of all, my daughter killed the cable to the microphone. And then when I got that fixed, I can't find the little widget that I need to make it work on my phone, on my laptop. There's a little gadget that I need, and I can't find it. So I'm just wearing these headphones for the look. I'm just wearing the headphones for the look, okay? They are not useful at all. So let's jump into the review of the book, okay? Let's not waste anybody's time. I don't know if you know what this book is, but this book is called the Gulag Archipelago, okay, or Archipelago. It's really hard to pronounce because my parents, when I was born in Russia, my parents quickly moved to Zimbabwe, okay, so that's why I can't pronounce it, okay, but otherwise, it's a Russian man. I should be able to pronounce this word, and it's one of the most unimaginable, the ugliest, most horrible books that you can think of in your life, okay? So why would I read it? Why would I read it? I think maybe I need to explain this. Maybe I shouldn't right now, but I will, okay? I will tell you. So for me, by far the most important thing, okay, maybe it's not the most important thing in life, but I think that it's important for anyone to have a clear view whether or not you believe in the devil. I think people need to believe in the devil, right? Whether or not you believe in him, you just need to believe in the devil. And if you believe in the devil, the worst thing that can happen if you believe in the devil is you start to see him, right? You start to see the devil everywhere, right? So it doesn't matter, right? Whether you believe in the devil or you don't, the thing is you just need to be able to see evil. That's the point. And if you can't see evil, then what kind of life is that? What kind of life is that? You need to see what's good or what's bad, right? So personally, I like to see that. That's why I don't like movies where there's no good versus evil. I just think, why are we wasting our time? Which brings me to to that Netflix show Amsterdam, right? Which I shall denounce. I shall denounce most vigorously. I shall denounce it in my next review, okay? I shall most vigorously denounce it and I'll preempt now so that if you don't want to watch that episode, you don't even bother, don't even waste your time. Okay, I'm going to say that's a bad show because there's no good versus evil, right? So 22 episodes of the first season of my life, okay? 22 episodes, that's nearly 22 hours. That's a whole day, okay? That's 3 shifts. Okay, so how much do I make in a shift? I don't know. That's nearly $1,000 or whatever it is that I make. Sim dollars, of course. Okay, Zimbabwean dollars, right? But the point is, I'm nearly about to denounce that book right now because not the book, but the Netflix series Amsterdam, the new Amsterdam, that one. I'm going to make a review maybe tomorrow, right? And I'm going to say it's bad. So if you don't want to watch that tomorrow, don't watch it because I'm not going to change my mind. I've thought about this. I'm very upset at my lost 22 hours. And I'm going to say, look, I don't know why. Okay, so let's leave it. Let's leave it, okay? So that's for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you 1,000 reasons why the new Amsterdam is bad. Right. So let me just put this conversation we're having today onto Facebook, and then we can move on, right? So here, I'll just write a review of record of a terrible record. Yeah, I think that's okay because really, I don't think most people would want to watch this. Like, but I'm putting it out there because I like it. This is my vomit channel, right? I vomit here. I say what I think, right? And I know some people don't like it, but why am I even saying that? Why am I even defending myself? Okay, let's jump into this, right? Let's jump into this. I don't even need to defend myself. I like this, right? I like it. I hope you like it too, right? So anyway, so what's the Gulag Archipelago? It's a book, okay? In fact, it's a book by a Russian man. His name is Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn. I don't know. Who knows how to pronounce these words? You know, I should have stayed in Russia longer. I should have stayed in Russia longer, but I didn't. Okay. Anyway, I blame that on my parents. They should have kept me in Russia longer. No, I've not lived in Russia. I'm joking. Okay, I've not lived in Russia. But anyway, it's a book describing a network of prisons and arrests and concentration camps and what did you call maybe expulsion places. I can't the word just eludes me, where maybe you would be sent into an unoccupied territory or some difficult place to live, whether it's a prison or a concentration camp, some kind of place. And all the things that come around it, like the arresting officers, the police, the policies, the intrigue, the torture, all those things. It's a book that describes how all those things were happening in Russia under Comrade Stalin. Okay, and you know, so there are 3 volumes of this book. You can literally find this book on on YouTube as an audio book. I would not recommend the YouTube version because the YouTube version, the audio is not very clear. So I did volume 1 using YouTube. Yes, I managed to hear everything, but it was not very satisfying. The content deserved better audio quality. Okay, the content deserved better audio quality. So I decided I'm not going to do the cheap thing. And right now I'm going to advertise the sponsors of my channel, Audible. No, they don't sponsor me. I got no sponsors. Okay, I'm doing this because I like it. Right. So anyway, Audible. If you download Audible on your phone, you can actually you subscribe to it. It's 14. I think it's $11 or 14 Australian dollars, under $15 a month in Australia, and you get 1 book for free every month. You get 2 books. The other one is the editor or is it editor or whatever it is. Anyway, the app can recommend to you 1 book, right? I never accept those because I don't like the books they recommend. And then the other one is a free book of your choice that you choose. So you get like a $15 credit or something. And if anyone else was to buy a book on Audible who's not a member, the book would be like maybe $40, $50 or $60 or whatever it is. But if you're a member, the book would be $14. So I subscribe to Audible. It's really great. You have the option of actually speeding up how fast the reader goes. So that's what I do. I listen to a book at ×2 the speed, which cuts the listening time in half. So anyway, so I decided to buy the book on Audible. I don't want to waste your time. I really want to get to the book. But so if you go on Audible, at the moment, they've got only, I think they have the abridged version and volume 1. So I bought the abridged version because they didn't have volume 1, 2, and 3. I was expecting them to have the full works, but they don't have that yet. It's still in the pipeline. So I bought the abridged version. The abridged version is almost as long as the Barack Obama book, which I do owe a review on. Hopefully I can do that tomorrow. Anyway, so 23 hours or 24 hours, something like that. Let me have a look. I'll tell you exactly how many hours it is right here on my phone. And it's really good. Like if you haven't formed a habit of listening to books, look, and yet you find it hard to read hard copy books, just try it. It's just literally like listening to someone talking, and you can do it. You can just pop your earphones in and you can do lots of things. You can drive or you can drive, you can do your dishes, you can clean the house, you can cut the grass, you can do lots of different things. You can take the laundry out, you can take the bins out, you can clean the car while listening to your book. So it's literally the easiest way to read books. So Audible, download that. It's easy, guys. And if Audible is listening to this, contact me, guys. I need the money. I'm advertising you. I need the money. So you need to pay me, okay? Because I'm supporting a poor African family. Okay, it's for African family. Don't think about it as helping me. Okay, think about it as helping a poor African family. That's how you should think about this. Okay. Anyway, so the book was how long here? Let's have a look. I'm trying to have a look, guys. I'll tell you how long the book is. At times 2 speed, the book is 22 hours 45 minutes. So it's 11 hours 45 minutes. So that if you multiply that by 2, you're getting yourself around 23 hours. So nearly 24 hours, 23 and a half hours. Okay. So that's what I did. That's how I listened to the book. Great stuff. So Audible, download and you'll enjoy it. Okay, so I've explained what it is. So let's just hop in. I'll tell you what's in the book. So the arrest is just the most horrible things you can think of when it comes to being arrested. It talks about how people would be arrested in all sorts of ways. They could arrest you directly during the day, but they could also, if you are likely to cooperate, they could arrest you during the day in front of everyone. If you're likely to say no, then they would arrest you in the night. If you were just a gullible person, then and maybe a potential problem, then they might trick you into arresting you. Like they might just find you at the shops and ask you, look, come here, I want to talk to you. And as soon as you're going to talk to someone, you're not coming back. That's it. 10 years from now, no one will know where you are, right? And even people just coming to find out, you know, where is so and so who's just been arrested or who's missing, or going to find out what should I do with this person's things since they are missing. The idea of you going to question what to do or even discuss the whole issue would land you in prison. So we're not talking about maybe the arrest of 4,000 people or the killing of 20 people like you know, like some people make a lot of fuss about. We are talking here about millions of people, right, being arrested and sent to all sorts of places, right? Huge numbers, big numbers. So it was horrible. And then not only were the arrests were so horrible and shocking that the guy says the way things worked when you were arrested, you would be so shocked by the fact that you were arrested, you would say, me? What for? Okay, because there would be no real good reason why you're under arrest. And nearly everyone, all people, all sorts and stripes would be arrested under one explanation or another. And then you come to the trials. I think this part is really most similar to our time. When you come to the trials, when it came to the trials, the thing was, it wasn't your personal guilt or innocence as an individual that was to be judged, but rather the guilt or the innocence. No, really, but rather you were to be told you are guilty because of the group to which you belong, right? Either by virtue of you believing the same ideas as those people, or by you having been said to have sympathy for those people, or by you having been a child to someone who believes those things, or having been married to someone who believes those things, or having been a friend to someone who believed those things. Even maybe being arrested for maybe asking about someone who was, you know, just because you've been associated with the group, that's where your guilt came from. Okay, so just simply what group you belonged to would then determine your guilt. And so the trials were just a big fuss, and it was such a big fuss. They would play all sorts of games and tricks. The biggest clue for them was, or one of their biggest things was to get you to confess even to things you do not know anything about. That was the way they were doing things, to get you to confess that you do not know anything, to things you do not know about, and to snitch on people that you don't even think did something. They would come up with 1,000 ways and tricks to get you to snitch on people who haven't done anything, that you don't even know did anything. But if you don't snitch, then they would promise you further punishment. But after you snitch, then they would even arrest you more, okay? Because you knew, but you didn't report. So basically, you were screwed either way. Whether you did or you didn't, you were damned, okay? I don't know if screwed is a swear word. I shall look that up in the dictionary, and if it is, I apologize, okay? But if it is, it's not my fault. I'd like to blame this country, Australia, because in Australia, at every traffic light, someone teaches you how to swear. This is true. It happened to me many times. People stop you at the traffic lights, everywhere in the shops. They check how many swear words you know. Yeah, so I'm sorry for saying screw, right? So anyway, yeah, no, sorry. I'm sorry for you saying the S word. I'm sorry for saying the S word, right? Yeah. So anyway, the trials were just horrible. So to get the confessions, that would come through tortures. Like they invented all sorts of torture. Even though on paper, the Russian Revolution had this constitution that was saying you shouldn't use torture. They thought they had the best constitution in the world. But on the ground, what people were experiencing was horrible. And you could be arrested for anything and everything. And so in particular, like this guy, Alexander, was arrested because he criticized Stalin in a letter to his friend, and it got found out. Even though he was in the army, he got found out, so he got sent to prison. I think it was 8 years or 10 years, whatever it was, right? And I want to give another example of one thing. Like the whole country was involved in the worship of Stalin, basically a craziness over this person, not because people believed that he was a great man, a good man, but because everyone was afraid that they couldn't confess, that they couldn't say the truth about him. Okay, so I've got just a small portion here of what they did to as a way of criticizing him, right? So I'll come over here and I'll share on my screen. First, let me get the screen ready. Just give me 2 seconds. As that lady says, thank you for your patience. Right, here we are. So let's come over here. Come over there. Right, I want to stop this, start the screen share. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, so here, this part here, we are going to talk about, I'm going to show you just a tiny snippet from this book about the worship of one person. So I'll read this first paragraph here, and then I'll jump into another paragraph that quotes the book. It says here, let's try and get that much bigger so you can see it on the screen. The audience exploded into applause. Every person in the room jumped up and began to wildly clap, as if racing each other to see who could get to their feet fastest, right? Just people just jumping up to clap their hands, right? The applause was all in honor of the dictator, Joseph Stalin, at the 1937 conference of the Communist Party in the Soviet Union, right? So now you wanna get to how Alexander describes this, right? This is how he describes it. The applause went on 6, 7, 8 minutes. They were done for. The goose was cooked. They couldn't stop now till they collapsed with heart attacks. At the rear of the hall, which was crowded, they could, of course, cheat a bit, clap less fervently, less vigorously, not so eagerly. 9 minutes, 10 minutes, insanity to the last man, with make-believe enthusiasm on their faces, looking at each other with faint hope. The district leaders were just going to go on applauding till they fell where they stood, till they were carried out of the hall on stretchers, right? So this is people just clapping Why didn't they want to stop clapping? Because the thing was, they were watching to see who would be the first person to stop clapping. They were watching to see who would be the first person to stop clapping. So here you go. Then at last, after 11 minutes of non-stop clapping, the director of a paper factory finally decided enough was enough. He stopped clapping and sat down. A miracle. To a man, everyone else stopped dead and sat down, right? So everyone is busy pretending to love this guy and clapping for 10 minutes because they're afraid that if they are seen to be the first one to stop clapping, they're in trouble. So the director of a paper factory sits down, right? Before everyone else. That same night, the director of the paper factory was arrested and sent to prison for 10 years because he stopped clapping. Like this is not this book is not a it's not a novel. It's not a novel. It's an account. It's actually a collection of different accounts that this guy, who was also sent to a gulag, collected while he was there. Some of it is documents that he collected. So you will read papers and books and things that people gave and sent or produced or made or spread out by the Communist Party or done against the Communist Party, all in Russia. Okay, so it's not a novel. It's not someone telling us a story from outside. It's someone who was inside telling a story to the outside. Okay, so now we'll go back to our slides, and I think we should be fine. Where are we now? That's desktop. Yeah, here's our PowerPoint. Are we in the right spot? Yeah, there we go. Will our PowerPoint allow us to do this? Yeah, okay. So we've been talking about the worship of one person. So that's an example. And I think that example, if you want to see the worst of human, so I thought the Nazis were bad, right? I thought the Nazis were bad. And I still think the Nazis were bad. Nice. Look, scratch that. It's not even a thought, right? Because when I say I think the Nazis are bad, I think some people will think, well, maybe you're just saying that's just your opinion and it's not really that true. Well, the Nazis were nasty. That's what I think. Okay, very, very nasty. But this book shows that Joseph Stalin was worse, right? Yes, I think I would say the book shows that Joseph Stalin was worse. I'm tempted to say more, but I'll leave that. Right? So the way the guy measures the number of prisoners and the number of people who were being arrested, he measures it by surges in the sewage pipeline. Like, you know how sewage carries human excrement, and he says the sewage pipelines were just being over-flooded and overrun with human filth and debris because people were just being arrested in huge numbers. And so when he talks about surges, you see, he just goes, there was a surge of 1929, there was a surge of this year, this surge of this year. So most people, you would say maybe most people would talk about 1937 or something like that as the worst period in Russian history or whatever. But he says it was bad from the beginning. It was just simply going worse and worse and worse under Stalin, okay? And he just measures it in surges in sewage pipelines and whatever. So the prison, when he describes the prisons, I've already told you about the snitching and the confessions. The prisons were overloaded. So you may have a prison designed for 20 people, like I'm just making up a number here, and then end up with like 60 people in there, where there's literally no room to turn. Where when you're sleeping, if you are being arrested, you gave an example of maybe, let's say you're being arrested and you're getting into a prison, there's two people lying down, you are going to maybe try and fit yourself in there between them until you can fit in as well and sleep and go to sleep, right? So literally it was that bad. They had rooms where maybe you can't move, can't lift your leg, can't turn, can't do anything, right? And they'd leave you in there for hours on end. So it was pretty bad. So really what I like about this book is its description of how human beings would then be degraded, like from he gave examples of, you know, back in the day, you know, people would sort of really love and respect each other and try to make room for each other, even in prison, right? Where say, for example, in old Russia, right, people could do a hunger strike in prison, and the prison guards would be sympathetic to the prisoners and try to listen to what the prisoners want. Even though the prisoner is in prison, the prisoner could have power over the people who've arrested them by going on a strike. They could get access visits, they could get letters from home, etc. Or not so in the Gulag, right? Getting a letter would be a privilege, right? Trying to go on a hunger strike, they would not listen. So what you have here is literally the people who are arresting you have no incentive for compassion over you, because even for them to be seen talking to you nicely would be seen as to be sympathizing with the enemy or with a sellout or something like that. So it was literally a self-selecting thing whereby if you were a decent human being, you wouldn't want to be a guard at the Gulag. And if you were a terrible human being, then you would be a great guard at the Gulag because you would be treating people like crap. Let me just give you an example like of the horrors that women faced, how guards would treat women. So if women were arrested because the Gulag did not choose whether you were a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, you know, everybody was fair game, okay? Because it was all for the sake of the revolution, right? So if, let's say, maybe among 20 women were arrested, the biggest worry would be, okay, are you beautiful, right? So if you're beautiful as a woman, then you would be in trouble because you're going to be kept in a prison by men. What do you think those men are going to do? What do you think they're going to want if they have all that power over you? And they have no respect for women, right? They have no respect for humanity. They have no respect for themselves. This is what because this is what it was to keep that job. You had to be a cruel human being. So what do you think they would do? They would indulge their lesser passions, their baser passions. So if you're a beautiful girl, so at first the thing would be, look, this is going to be a hard life here. If you let me have my way with you, I'll make sure you get your food. I'll make sure you don't do the hard tasks or whatever, you know, I'll look after you. But if you don't, then you're going to have a tough life in this place, right? So just imagine what beautiful women were facing, right? They were facing the prospect of being raped, the prospect of being just made basically like a sex worker, involuntary sex slave, right? Just being a sex slave for the people at the Gulag, and all sorts of men will be coming to you. So the trick for those beautiful women might be, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to try and hold on to my chastity, to my dignity, and I'm not going to sleep around or whatever? Then if you did that, then you get into trouble. Or if you say, okay, so if I'm going to sleep with someone, then I need to sleep with the biggest, the baddest, the meanest, right? Or I'm going to sleep with all of them. In which case you're just degrading yourself with every single option. The only option that would not degrade your own sense of who you are would be to let them treat you like the worst scum on earth. Now, if you decided to sleep with the guards or whatever to get your way, an easy life, when you got back into the prison cell to go to sleep, what do you think the ugly girls would do? Then the ugly girls would beat you up. The ugly girls would treat you like crap. The ugly girls would treat you like scum because they are not even getting any good treatment. So it was degrading for the women, right? So the ugly women become debased because they are being jealous and they're also getting angry and they're also being treated badly. The guards have become debased. The women in the prison themselves are becoming debased. It's just terrible all around. And then with children, the children grow up in this environment where everything is kill or be killed, eat or get eaten, right? And so they start to think and expect that people who are good, people who are gentle, people who are kind have the worst outcomes in life. So the children who grew up around the archipelago or the Gulag, all these people would be all these kids would be learning and honing in the skills of being nasty, being bad, being the meanest, so that at least nothing happens to them. So literally, the children were being born and raised in filth, not as in raised in filth, around filth, but being raised with filth. They were being fed filth to grow up. So as they were growing up, they were literally growing up to calculate. Like one example is where he talks about a boy who says, when I grow up, I'm going to be a thief, because there's no way I'm going to live an honest life. Because if you try to live an honest life, you end up in trouble. Okay. It's crazy. Not even an ambition to work. He's thinking, I'm going to be a thief, I'm going to kill, I'm going to murder, I'm going to do this because I need to survive, right? So stealing, killing, lying, all these things were just being fed to the kids as a means of survival, right? So that's a terrible life to have. And this was happening on mass scale, right? And to me, it was really a shocker. I've always been, I've not always been, but yeah, I have very little sympathy with communism. But well, after reading this book, I'm like, oh my word, terrible, right? Very terrible, right? But in the midst of all this degradation that was happening to the men, to the women, to the children, there were heroes of the time, people who didn't give in, people who actually faced all that horrible stuff. And they were just like, look, mate, I'm not doing what you're saying. So he gave an example of an atheist guy who, even though he was not a religious man, he was a decent human being. And try as they may, as the authorities did, to try, because they would try to get some of the prisoners to oversee the prisoners by being cruel to those prisoners, and then maybe being a little bit nicer to one of them, right? Who would then be there, like the overseer, making other people do things. And this guy would not cooperate, would not do such things. So even though he was treated badly, he left with his soul intact. So he grew up he was living his life surrounded by filth, but he didn't partake of the filth. He didn't let the filth into his own soul. I gave another example. This one was a religious lady. How when she was brought in and they were she had helped someone escape or had been involved in some underground thing and she knew people who were involved in it. And so they were about to torture her to extract information so that they can go and arrest certain people, right? So they say to her, you know who the people are, can you tell us? And she looked at them and said, you know what, I know who the people are, but I'm not going to tell you, okay? So you can do with me as you like, right? I don't mind dying. I'm not afraid of dying. You yourselves are afraid of yourselves, because you don't feel safe. You don't feel anything. So I'm not telling you anything. You are actually afraid that something bad is going to happen to you, but I'm not afraid. So because of the courage that she showed, they actually let her go. They're like, oops, we can't do anything, because against a person who no longer has that fear, that drive of, oh, no, I've got to be, So this takes us to the next spot, okay? Maybe I shouldn't have gone, but anyway, before we go to that next spot, I will just hopefully I can remember to come to the point about this lady, how she didn't get corrupted. And it also documents how the Western nations, talking the UK, the USA, after the end of the Second World War, they found some people who had been prisoners to the Germans who were from Russia. So they found how would you say that if Germany captures Russian soldiers and makes them its prisoners, what are they? Are they German prisoners of war, or they are Russian prisoners of war, right? Anyway, they found some people who were prisoners to Germans in different areas that had been taken over by Germany. But now that Germany had lost, those people were free to go home or do whatever they wanted to do. Those people did not want to go back to Russia because they knew how terrible it was before the war, because it was horrible. They didn't want to go back. But the Western nations tricked, lied, forced, shot, these guys and made them go back to Russia. And when they went back to Russia, they would be arrested for surviving. They would be arrested for surviving because why didn't you die? You must have been a sellout. Why didn't the Nazis kill you? That means you must have been a sellout. If you ran away from a Nazi, if you were captured by the Nazis and then you ran away to report to the Russians, oh, well, look, I was in a prison and then I ran away, you would be arrested because why didn't everyone else who ran away come safely? The fact that you made it safely means that you're a spy. So you would be arrested for that too. So it was literally like for anything, you would be arrested. And the Western nations did not believe that this was what was happening in Russia, because there's an air in the West that's very sympathetic to communist ideology, and it seems, according to the way the guy is writing the book, it seems that he actually feels the opposition from the West that sort of tries to say, oh no, the problem was, just dictatorship, but otherwise we can still do communism. And you can hear it in his voice that he's trying to say, no, this whole system is very bad. But anyway, I'll just go on to why you are saying the system is very bad. So he said that the system was set up for moral collapse, right? The system was already set up for moral collapse because Joseph Stalin and all his comrades, after the Russian Revolution was successful, right? It documents how they went after churches, went after religion, everything that didn't agree with them. They just literally shut down, closed down. They stole money from the churches and all this. And so people had no more morals. All they lived for was for the revolution. They didn't even believe in being Russian. They were internationalists or whatever, right? So they had no moral compass. So when suffering came, they had nothing in them to help them realize this is bad. I can't try to survive at any cost. This is where I was going with the part about the heroes of the time. So if you went to the Gulag, you had those choices like I put up for the women. You had those choices. Am I going to become bad, mean, nasty, vicious in order to survive? Or am I going to try and be a good person and then I will die, right? But you are brought to a place where you had to decide what kind of person you want to be. And at what price? At what price are you willing to survive? Do you want to survive at all costs, right? And that's the thing, and that is the question, right? And those people who wanted to survive at all costs, these are the people who would cooperate. These are the people who would snitch. These are the people who would become bad, mean, nasty, vicious, because they want to survive. These are the people who would be like, okay, look, I will sleep with this person if it means that I will get some food or whatever, right? I will steal if it means that I'm going to survive. This is the whole idea. This is the whole understanding that survival is the biggest and best thing. And literally, like under communist ideology, the idea is bad things happen because people are just in bad environments, not because of bad ideas. Like if someone doesn't have food, then they become a thief. If someone is not loved, then maybe they're going to become a bully or something like this. So if you come up with a good society, if you come up with good systems, then no one is going to do bad things. That was basically the idea. And so when people did bad things or people stood up for good things, they were looked at or when people opposed the society that Russia was trying to build, they were looked at as trying to block people from being good, because all Russia was trying to do, also all the Russian Revolution was trying to achieve, was to make sure that people are good and all individuals will be equal and no one would ever be looked down upon, right? That's what they were trying to achieve. So when other people were now, like exalting their church, exalting their family, exalting their own morals, it didn't matter. The thing was, you were going against the party, and the party was the one which was trying to find the right path to life. So literally, if you were a criminal, just a criminal, if you went and stole something, maybe you would get 3 years in jail. But if you were not willing to like bow the head to the Soviet Union and say the arrangement is great, if you were just a Christian, if you just went to church or baptized your children or whatever, these things could get you 20 years, whereas stealing, killing might not get you that much stuff, because they would say, oh, it's only that they haven't been trained to work for the common good. But those who defied the ideology of the party suffered more, like in terms of being punished. But these are the same people who actually preserved their souls. These are the people who didn't feed on the filth. They were able to spit out the filth and come out clean. In fact, this guy, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, whatever how you pronounce his name, he found his way to believing in God from looking at the way that some people were behaving in there, even choosing tough jobs than easier jobs, just so that they don't take on the power of oppressing other human beings. And I'm not saying it's only Christian people. Like I said, there's one example, to be fair. He didn't really do too many yes, non-Christians did well, but he did show that there were some people who were not Christian who came out well, came out very good, came out very well, very decent. But that's because they had a moral compass that told them that I won't do anything just to survive. I will only do the things that are right. And if I do those things, if it means I die, that's fine. That's what they did. They didn't adhere to all this other thing where it's, being corrupt is just part of life, and anyone can be corrupt. Therefore, anything can be done. Okay. So yeah, so it's a definite must read. It's a definite must read. I think it's a great book. I enjoyed reading it. I am definitely going to buy the 3 volumes, and I'm going to read them again and again. Okay. So I love this book, okay, because there's a clear contrast. There's a clear contrast between good and evil. And good and evil is not a religious thing. It's a human thing. It's a human thing. Humanity, if we want to go anywhere, we have to have that moral compass to say no. Okay. So anyway, I didn't cover everything that's in the book, but I just thought I just want to put my thoughts out there that it's a great book, and if you have time, do read it. So that's that, guys. Thank you very much. Gracias por todo. Gracias por todo. Gracias por todo. Okay, guys. See you next time. So here we are. So we'll stop the stream and say goodbye.